Hello everybody! So, wow. That new Age of Calamity demo. It's leaving us with a lot of questions now, isn't it? So, as a quick disclaimer before we jump into this video, if you have not played the Hyrule Warriors Age of Calamity demo on the Nintendo eShop right now, go play it, because there are going to be many spoilers as to what's shown off in the demo, story-wise, in this video. So, go play it. It's really good, actually. It's really good. You will not be disappointed. But how's it going, everybody? It's Xeno here, and today we got a lot to discuss. I want to discuss a lot of the things that are in this demo. The main one being, of course, big bombshell, time travel. Time travel is in Hyrule Warriors Age of Calamity, and it seems to be a pretty central part of the plot, and I'm not sure exactly how I feel about this yet. There are two ways that this could go, and I know I prefer one of the ways it could go to the other, but that's what we're going to get into discussing right now. So what are these two paths for Age of Calamity? The path of good, the path of evil, the path of good storytelling, the path of please don't do this to us again. That would be, of course, how you're going to handle this time travel. Is this going to be a sort of time loop where the Egg Guardian we see that is going back in time? Yes, he is the person that is going back in time. Are they going back in time just to go back to where they are in time? Basically what I'm saying is, at the end of this game, are they going to end up in a box in Zelda Study, and then this whole event plays over again for them? So basically, they have always been a part of the story. It's just time travel was never really told to us as a part of the story, but it's always been a part of the story, you know? Or also, if you just want to bypass all the implications of time completely, you can just make it so that this outcome that Egg Guardian is coming to fix is the outcome we know of from Breath of the Wild's telling of the past. That is the 100 years ago that we know of, and apparently there was another version of 100 years ago that would have happened if Egg Guardian didn't show up, you know? So those are the two good options I see happening here. The bad one is that this actually does change things, like a lot. And what that would lead to is, of course, another timeline split. Oh, the word, the word that brings fear into the hearts of so many Zelda fans, but yes. So there are good sides to this, there are bad sides to this. Either way you look at any outcome of putting time travel into this game, it was genius. It's absolutely genius of Koei Tecmo and Nintendo to do this, because now you can make stuff that would have been like, oh, they're retconning stuff. No, they're not retconning stuff. It was time travel. That's what did it. I think it's genius. It's really genius from a gameplay perspective of getting to do whatever you want. But I have some worries about the story. I have a few. I also have some excitement around this too, because hey, bringing time travel into a story usually means it's going to be crazy, and you know, you need a little bit of craziness in every story for it to be good. It also is a great source of incentive to see this story, because we are told the rough outline of what's going to happen in Breath of the Wild. We know the champions are going to die, Calamity's going to take over Hyrule, and it's just not going to be a pretty sight. But when you mix in this idea of, oh, shoot, what the heck is happening now? Is this time travel? Are we changing the future? Is this a Final Fantasy VII Remake situation? Well, then you have more of an incentive to see this story through, see what's actually happening. Before, we kind of had this new character in here that kind of gave it a little bit of this idea of, okay, maybe there is some new stuff that we didn't already know. But now, maybe what we knew was wrong. So it's just a really interesting dynamic there. It's so genius of Nintendo and Koei Tecmo to do that. If it's going to play out correctly, and if they had enough of a premise to actually do this, is yet to be seen. But let's start talking a little bit about what we do know, and how we can actually break down how time travel might impact this game. So if you look at any of the text in the game, anything that refers to Egg Guardian traveling back in time and why he did it, they use the phrase, to save Zelda. Not to save the world, not to save everything from Calamity, but to save Zelda. So that gives me hope, at least. That gives me hope that he's not going to change too much, and that this is still going to lead directly into Breath of the Wild, and there's not going to be a whole timeline split where this is an alternate outcome that leads to Breath of the Wild too. So that's our first point. That's the first thing that I'm like, okay, maybe. I have hope. But then we also see some of the late game scenes already. We've seen the late game scenes too. Like in the trailers before, we've seen, okay, the champions look like they're about to die. We've seen Calamity Ganon rise up from the castle, like he's going to in this game, unless they've just been pulling a really good marketing ploy on us. But I don't think so. I feel like Calamity Ganon is going to rise no matter what they do. They can't stop that. That's going to happen. So, can you really change that much if Calamity Ganon is inevitable? He's going to be there. Technically, you could get into the idea of maybe they stopped the takeover of the Divine Beasts and the Guardians, and that actually does play into the idea of, hey, they would have been able to defeat Calamity Ganon if the Guardians and everything weren't possessed by the Malice. So technically there is still a possibility there of changing time, but it's not as likely because we've seen a lot of these scenes already. We've seen that, yes, there's going to be malicious Guardians and all that. We've seen malicious Guardians come back through time too. So there's a lot to know. It's weird because this demo gives you a lot of answers, but at the same time, it basically creates just as many with this whole time travel fiasco. And not gonna lie, I kind of love it. But going back to Malice coming back through time with Egg Guardian, which is something I did not notice the first time I watched this scene, because you can actually see it. The Guardian that was going to try and destroy Egg Guardian before he could travel back through time. That's just such a weird sentence to say. Malice comes off it and follows him back through time. So yeah, there's another instance of, okay, so you're changing things, because as far as we know, that didn't happen. Then again, maybe they just didn't mention it 100 years ago, 100 years after in Breath of the Wild. Maybe like, oh, okay, that's not important. Okay, we saw that there were malicious Guardians and stuff beforehand, but we were not like, oh, maybe that could be a problem. So we really don't know. We do know, however, that 100 years ago, according to Breath of the Wild, runes were not able to be used, and neither were the towers. Like, they hadn't rised from the ground either, which we see both of those in Age of Calamity, and they kind of both go around Egg Guardian, and he's the reason that they're happening. So another point into the favor of this is changing things a lot, but it's really like it's not set in stone either way. There's a lot of evidence that could say either way right now, but I have literally no idea. I mean, of course, I want it to be a coherent story. I want it to go right from Age of Calamity, this is what happened 100 years ago. Breath of the Wild, this is the outcome from that. I don't want us to see, okay, so there was originally this one thing that happened, and then that led to Breath of the Wild, but Age of Calamity isn't that. We went back and we changed it so it's a happy ending. No, don't give me a happy ending. I don't want it with this game. That's the whole point. It's Age of Calamity. There's no happy endings. Don't give it to me. I won't accept it. But yeah, it's also interesting because going back to the whole tower and rune thing, this was hinted at a while ago too. I just wanted to bring that up real quick. Because back at TGS, they actually said that there was a reason why Link could use the rune abilities in Age of Calamity. And I was like, okay, well, yeah, sure, maybe it's just PR talk, and there actually really isn't that good of a reason. But no, time travel is a pretty darn good reason to say, okay, we can change what happened, and Link can use runes. So, I found that interesting how that was actually hinted at a while ago, and I thought I'd bring it up again. But I mean, yeah, the more you look at it, the more evidence there is that there might be something going on here. This might be a different reality to the reality that leads to Breath of the Wild. I mean, Egg Guardian is never talked about, and I mean, what's basically a second fortune teller coming from the future, this little time-traveling guardian, I feel like that would be something you probably want to mention in, like, your ancient records and stuff, you know, like, even Impa was alive. Why didn't she mention that? Well, I mean, the easy answer is because it didn't exist yet, like, story-wise, because this is a prequel, that's just how things work. But also, are you really gonna add a story element that big and just say, oh, it's just not in Breath of the Wild because that game came first? I don't know. I feel like this is something too big to try and just retcon in, if you know what I mean. And let's talk even more about Egg Guardian, because this guy went from being just a cute little mascot for the game to basically the be-all, end-all of the story. And how did he get into Zelda study? That's my question. Any way this outcome plays out, why was he stored in a box in Zelda study in the opening cutscene? And even beyond that, why does he react when Zelda unlocks her sealing power? Now, my first idea for this was that maybe this Guardian has a connection back to Zelda's mother. I mean, it was in Zelda's study, and it seems to be related to the sealing power, which is something that she inherited from her mother, so I thought that might actually be some kind of connection there. But the thing is, then you see further cutscenes where King Rome is inspecting this Guardian, and he seems very cautious of it, very, like, not sure about it. Which, if Zelda's mother, being his own wife, actually at one point owned this guardian, that doesn't really make sense. So I kind of scrapped that idea. I don't know, maybe it was she owned it in secret or something, but I'm not sure about that one. I'm not sure about anything. Where the heck does he come from? How does he get there? I don't know, and that's part of the reason why I'm so excited to play this game still. And then there's the matter of the malice that chases Egg Guardian back through time. Now, we kind of touched on this earlier, but the implications of this are pretty interesting as well. So this could be the reason why these Guardians in the Breach of Demise are reacting, why they're turning corrupted and all that, and they're being the bad Guardians, because as far as we know, that didn't happen 100 years ago. Beyond that, it could also have something to do with this mysterious-looking corrupted Egg Guardian that shows up right before they go into the Ancient Tech Lab, which, okay, that... I have no idea about this one either. See, it's just it raises as many questions as it answers. Gameplay-wise, okay, we got the gameplay questions. We're all good. Story-wise, what the heck? Apparently, there's a corrupted mini Egg Guardian as well. I'm not sure where he came from. I'm guessing it has something to do with the malice that came back through time. Also, another thing that could have to do with this malice that came back through time. Remember our hooded figure friend from a few trailers ago? They have a corrupted orb, and I wonder where they got that corrupted malice energy stuff that corrupts stuff. Yeah, that's the official name of it. They posted it on the website a few weeks ago, and yeah. I know I actually saw some people in the comments bringing up the idea of maybe this guy's also a time traveler, and being the fortune teller, that's how he could predict the future, which is actually really, really interesting. Nice connection there. I'm not sure. But then again, I'm not sure about most things. I mean, if Egg Guardian can come back in time and change it for the good, who's to say this guy's not going back in time to change it back for the bad? Maybe that's what it is. The conflicting forces make it so that even though Egg Guardian comes back, nothing changes. Ooh, wouldn't that be interesting? That would be pretty interesting. But I don't want to pull too many people through time, you know? Because if you pull everyone through time, then it just gets ridiculous. Limit it to 2 characters at the most. That's the most you can have going through time. If you do any more, no, you've lost. Sorry, that's too much. Too much chaos. And speaking of chaos, that leads us to our final thing here today I want to mention in our discussion about time travel in Age of Calamity, which is the 2 champions that appear beside each divine beast in our new and improved tapestry. This scares me. Again, I see 2 main things that could be happening here. One I'm okay with, one I'm very worried about, so let's start with what I'm okay with, which is that this is a new and improved version of the tapestry. Because as you might remember in Breath of the Wild, the tapestry is depicting the first Calamity, which was 10,000 years ago, not 100. So if this is a new depiction of that tapestry and they're just adding on new champions to stand by their ancestors from the original tapestry, I'm okay with that. That's actually pretty cool that you would alter the tapestry and make it like that, which putting in a Guardian, that's also altering it. That could just be because time altered it, but that's what I want it to be. But I'm also worried that it might mean we're dealing with some heavy time travel stuff here, and that either champions from the ancient past or champions from the future even may come to this present day Age of Calamity time to help out and change the past, which I really don't want to see. That's my main problem with this. This could be a timeline split, because we've been told, at least it's been implied, that Age of Calamity is going to be a canon Zelda game, a game that is part of the timeline. It's going to be a direct prequel to Breath of the Wild, right? But if you start going that far with the time travel elements, then it starts to look less like a legitimate prequel and more like, again, a side story that's non-canonical, which I don't want this to be. I want this to be a really fun and amazing and cool story, which it could probably still be that with all this time travel stuff. But it would also make it like 10 times more confusing, and we don't need that. We just need a good, non-confusing, not too much time travel story, which you can still pull off here. It's still possible if you just don't go too insane with it. That is the main feeling that this discovery of time travel in Age of Calamity has led to for me. I'm sure it could be great. I think it could even make the story like 10 times more interesting, but you just gotta do it right. And I'm worried that Koei Tecmo and Nintendo might not do it right. I mean, look at Hyrule Warriors. I mean, it wasn't supposed to be a very deep and interesting and canonical story, which this game is supposed to be, so I should give them credit for that. But still, I'm worried they're going to do it again. I still think I'll love the game. Sure, I'll be disappointed at the fact that it didn't reach its full potential, and I'm still very worried that it might drag Breath of the Wild 2 off the rails too, but, you know, you gotta roll with the punches sometimes. You gotta have faith, okay? So, in conclusion, time travel, not terrible, but make sure you do it correctly, and please, 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 not another timeline split. Hey guys, hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, make sure you subscribe, helps me out a lot. We've been covering all of the Age of Calamity news, like literally everything on the channel. It's just been so much fun. I can't wait to see the final release of this game later next month, or maybe even this month by the time the video actually comes out, but yeah. So yeah, if you subscribe, you get to see all that new content as soon as it comes out, and you get to really help out me and the channel and growth, and me and the channel and growth, and it's just very helpful. So if you could, I would really appreciate it. Thank you. Beyond that, I'm on Twitter at XenogamerYT. We have a Discord server in the link in the description. You can go check it out over there, hang out with me and all the other cool peoples over there, and you can follow me on Twitch at Xenogamer Streams. Also, links in the description for all of this stuff, basically. So yeah, finally, let me know. Get a good discussion going on down in the comments. I want to know exactly where you guys stand on this whole time travel fiasco stuff going on. And just, what are your ideas? Why do you think a Guardian's in that box in Zelda's study? Because I have no idea. Maybe one of you guys does though, and maybe it's a really good theory that actually does turn out to be true. And if you don't post it now, you'll regret it forever because you could have had the chance to tell everybody I told you so about your theory. So make sure you post it. Anyway, that's it for me today, guys. Make sure you have yourselves a splendid day, and I will see you soon with more videos. Have a good one. Bye.